The Abyss and the Light, the journey of a young Egyptian. It was a radiant summer where the sun embraced the cheeks of children who, overflowing with joy and freedom, ascended the mountain. The fresh air and the bustle of play awakened in them an indescribable emotion. But, in a twist of fate, the life of the little prince turned dark. Trapped in the shadows of a tomb, he faced his deepest fears, feeling loneliness like a cold mantle. Yet, in his struggle, the light of his essence shone brightly. Each step toward freedom became a poem of courage and redemption. With ingenuity and determination, he emerged from the abyss, transformed by suffering into wisdom, carrying in his heart the promise of being a beacon of hope, guiding others on their journey toward love and freedom. In this first episode of our journey, we delve into the story of a young Egyptian navigating an abyss of experiences that challenge his limits. Through his eyes, we explore the duality between fear and courage, descent and ascent. His journey not only reveals the mysteries of an ancient civilization, but also illuminates the inherent resilience of humanity. Get ready to immerse yourself in a narrative that transcends time and space, inviting you to reflect on struggle and hope. Chapter 1: The Depth of the Ancient Tomb. That day, under the summer sun, the young prince, just 5 years old, was climbing the mountain with his friends. The cool wind caressed his face, and his eyes reflected the excitement of someone completely immersed in play. From the top, the horizon stretched out like an ocean of solid ground, a kingdom to conquer. The children, small adventurers, knew no limits and were unaware of the risk on the slope that lay ahead, hidden under an illusion of safety. In a fleeting moment, as the prince slid down enthusiastically, the ground beneath him seemed to vanish. The speed of his fall plunged him into a cold darkness, as if the very void of history were claiming him. His friends, astonished, watched as his figure disappeared into the mysterious hole that opened at their feet and, overwhelmed by fear, fled silently, like leaves scattered by the wind. When he awoke in the depths of that shadowy chamber, the prince felt the weight of loneliness. The darkness was dense, so deep it seemed to envelop every particle of air. As he looked at himself, he felt time stand still and an extraordinary calm envelop him. He knew his only option was to find a way out, and the thought of returning to the light became an unquenchable spark. Around him, the walls of eroded stone held centuries of history in their cold and rough touch. In every corner, fragments of a forgotten past, rotting wood, old bones, and pieces of brick, memories of past lives and dreams sealed by time. To any other child, those objects would have seemed useless and devoid of meaning. But for the prince, they were pieces of a puzzle that, in his agile and creative mind, transformed into a bridge to salvation. He searched the ground for materials and, with the delicacy of someone finding treasure, began to stack fragments of wood and bones into an improvised structure. His breath, still quick, intertwined with the beating of his heart, reminding him that he was alive, that he could overcome fear. The physical effort merged with a silence of will, the same that accompanies those who decide to face their destiny. Reflections in the silence. While working on his makeshift ladder, the prince felt something deeper than the urge to save himself. In his young mind, he sensed that this moment, this struggle against darkness and fear, would be a memory that would guide him throughout life. It was as if every decision he made resonated in the vast universe, connecting the threads of his present with the past and the future. Was this an echo of something greater? A reminder that the human spirit is destined to overcome even the darkest abysses? The decision not to give up, to seek a way out, showed him the inner strength that lay within. In that moment, the prince was not only escaping from a pit, he was ascending to a new understanding of himself. Each step he took toward the top, each fragment of bone and wood he arranged, was a lesson in perseverance, a teaching that the universe offered him in the silent language of experience. The return to the light. With a final effort, the prince reached the opening that connected him once again with the outside world. The sunlight, soft and warm, bathed his face as his feet touched solid ground again. He felt that this light not only illuminated his body but filled his soul with unbreakable courage. He took a deep breath, allowing himself to feel the glory of life and victory over fear. Upon arriving home, he silently kept the story of that day to himself, not as a secret of fear, but as a seed of learning. He understood that strength does not always need to be proclaimed and that silence can be a refuge of wisdom. That day, the prince had descended into the depths of an ancient tomb only to emerge as someone greater, someone capable of facing the world with courage and serenity. Universal lesson. From that day on, the prince carried with him a profound truth, applicable to any human path. In the darkest moments, when the abyss seems to absorb everything, the spirit can find a way to rise. Difficulties, falls, and challenges are simply steps on an invisible construction that leads us to freedom. Chapter 2: The Descent and Ascension of the Prince.
When I was 5 years old, I was playing with my friends at the top of the mountain and fell into a hole. When my friends saw my body disappear in that place, they left without saying anything and left me alone.
The fall was swift, and upon hitting the bottom, the prince felt the weight of loneliness like a cold cloak enveloping him. He awakened in a dead-end alley, surrounded by shadows and silence. There, without help, he had to find the way to freedom. Looking around, he found himself at a crossroads branching into 4 distinct directions, as if fate challenged him to choose the right path amid uncertainty. Without losing his calm, the prince searched for something to help him escape the dark abyss. As he moved slowly and cautiously, he spotted among the rubble some remnants, pieces of wood, fragments of broken things, remnants of ancient stories. With steady hands and a clear mind, he began to gather and stack each of those fragments, gradually constructing his way out. In his heart was anxiety, but also a firm conviction, an inner whisper urging him to find appropriate solutions.
Since childhood, I have been characterized by the pursuit of suitable solutions for others and for myself. I also love helping people. I was characterized by lightness, intelligence, and speed.
These qualities allowed him to overcome adversity. As he stacked each fragment, he recalled moments when his desire to help and his ingenuity had guided him in the right direction. He knew that his essence lay in finding ways, in discovering how to help others overcome their own barriers. And so, with determination and focus, he built his path to the surface, uniting each piece into a structure that lifted him toward the light. Upon reaching the top, he encountered the sun once again, and a smile of relief and pride spread across his face. He had not only escaped from a dark chamber, he had rediscovered the inner strength that had always accompanied him, a spark of ingenuity and courage that, even in the darkest moments, illuminated his path. From that moment on, the prince understood that every obstacle is a challenge that allows him to grow, and that his mission in life would be to continue helping, seeking solutions that guide both his own destiny and that of those around him.